Call this order of the committee, call this committee of the whole meeting to order. It is 4:02 p.m. for the record. All members are present this afternoon. Thank you. We will begin with old business. First, with Sherry Stensland with the Human Resources and Safety Report. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Just some quick updates. So I've been working with Chief Worley on filling the police officer position and then adding to their roster as well. I've also been working with Public Works on what their summer staff needs might look like for this summer. So I would like to request to advertise and hire for 10 summer staff, similar to what we did last year. So I'm just requesting to place that on the agenda for Monday.
Is there a motion to do so?
I'll make that motion.
You can have the second, Counselor.
Okay, I'll have the second
I
then.
think Counselor Buller beat you to it. And the discussion would be that you'll continue working with Chief Worley, the motion to place.
Oh, no, this is the Public Works one.
Yeah.
Public Works.
This is
yeah.
the summer workers, right?
Yeah.
Yep, the motion would be for 10 summer workers
Great.
to be placed on the next city council agenda. Is there any other thoughts or comments? Do you have anything to add?
I don't unless you have any questions.
Is 10 a number that's working?
If we can get 10 applicants, I think that's a number that will work.
Okay.
Actually, we've already had some inquiries, so we're already ahead of last year.
Okay.
So that's good. So I have people to follow up with once we get it posted and all that, so.
Call the question.
Aye.
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 I'll vote yes. The motion carries to add the summer staff request to the next city council agenda. Thank you.
I've also reviewed the part-time employee hours, identifying those who may have worked more than 1,560 hours last year, so they would be eligible for health insurance under the Affordable Care Act. So, and I've mailed out the materials to those who qualify. There was one who has not been interested in the past, so I'm not sure what that person will choose to do this year, but that's where that stands. I continue to work on refining the city's notification and tracking processes to align with Minnesota paid leave. So I think it's been a couple of months of a learning process for everyone. So I think I'm in the same boat as a lot of other employers out there. But so that's what I continue to work on, is just trying to figure out how they're sending out those notifications and updating and their reports and everything like that. And then the safety committee is working on compiling the safety data sheets into an electronic format. And I would just like to acknowledge that Crystal has been extremely helpful in getting that all together and kind of coordinating those efforts. So, any questions?
This is great. I'm glad it's going along smoothly.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sherry.
Yep.
Thank you.
We'll move on at this time to item 2 and invite up the fire marshal, Jared Baldwin, with rental licensing monthly report.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. In your packet is the February rental licensing report. For the month of February, I completed 115 inspections. Majority of them were at West Falls Estates, an apartment building and townhomes. They're under a large renovation right now out there. They're doing, improving all the units, fire alarm system, all kinds of stuff. So it was good to get out there while they're in the renovation process, just to make sure all their life safety stuff is in place while they're doing renovations. So that all went well. A few minor issues to work through, but they've always been good with getting their stuff taken care of when it's been identified. So any questions on rental licensing?
questions from council on that item? I'd like to move to agenda 3 for blight, which you are also in charge of.
Blight, the last week, the phone's starting to ring a little bit regarding garbage and stuff with the snow starting to melt, with the rain. I got a couple calls last week, and I've, noticed those properties. They didn't make it to the list because the list was already generated before they got on there. And then we are working through a few with the attorney from last year, getting them through the process to hopefully correct those issues and get them taken care of. So we're not having the adjacent property owners calling regarding those, so. Any questions on that?
Just one, none this year? This is what we have.
Yeah, there's a few on there now, there just hasn't been updated, this came out before, but we probably got 2 or 3 right now that are new, outside of the existing ones from last year. So, this is the time of the year things start picking up, because things start showing up that has been covered with snow or hasn't been visible, so this is when the neighbors start usually calling, so.
So to clarify, there's just no report?
Yeah,
There's no new one since the last one at the last meeting
Correct, yes.
of the,
So this is the new year, so the ones from last year went away off the sheet, and then we're starting fresh with new ones. We still have the few that Chelsea's dealing with, but other than that, we haven't identified any new ones outside of the couple in the last couple weeks. But it's a tough time of year with snow, and so within by this time next month, there'll probably be quite a few again, so.
I would just add that received a few phone calls about certain properties that, certainly fall outside of what our property maintenance standards are, which I'm sure you're aware of which ones they are. And I'm sure Chelsea is too.
Yeah. Yeah, we're working with them as they come in, and, like I said, last year, we had a pretty good engagement from the property owners on taking care of things to where we weren't having to, move a lot of them to the attorney. I think overall last year, we had 5, and that was down significantly from the past years. The previous year, I think, was 13 that she was dealing with. So hopefully we continue to trend in that direction. It's just some of these ones drag out so long. It's such a long, drawn-out process. There's one that we've been dealing with on Crescent Drive, and it's probably been almost a year that we've been dealing with that one.
I don't know addresses. Is that out by the airport?
Yes.
Yes.
So, so it's just, we do what we can and try to push through, and, it's, hopefully it continues to work and we continue to, clean things up, so.
Questions for police?
I know we've talked about before, maybe Chief can weigh in too. Got a call about truck being parked in the yard again. A full-size semi-truck.
Yeah,
What do we do with that again? I forgot.
I've talked to Chief Worley. If it's an unlicensed or inoperable vehicle, I can address that, but if it's a licensed motor vehicle or a semi, the police department has to notice them or give them a parking ticket. Is that what we've done in the past?
Okay.
So, yeah, I've got the same calls, and I've relayed them to Chief, so he's aware of that.
All right. Thank you.
Yep.
Questions? Seeing no further, thank you.
Thank you.
Just want to wish you and your Pee-wees good luck this weekend.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting. 36 years. It's been since the Pee-wees went to the state tournament, so, and Steve Crosby was the coach at that time 36 years ago, so. I don't think he's here unless he walked in, but, yeah, exciting for the kids and the community, so appreciate it.
Thank you. We'll move on to the 4th item on the agenda. Mr. Kelly Myers with his building official report.
Mayor and Council, thank you. kind of like a normal year. It's a slow start. January, February are always our slower months. Things are picking up though in March, so I think we're gonna have a good year again. Basically don't have a whole lot to add other than that. It's kind of normal. People wait for their returns. People start planning their projects right now, and then they'll hit probably March, April.
Questions for Mr. Myers? Please, Counselor Wagner.
I think we talked about this before though, but what, the old Jim's Cafe, what's going on there?
Actually, right now, he's just gutting it out. They're gonna remodel the upstairs for right now, which are apartment buildings right now. And that is not a part of this report yet because they have not decided and completed what they're gonna do there. The downstairs level is basically gonna end up being a retail space, not a restaurant type setting as of now. Could still, plans could change. So to answer your question, it's basically, they bought the building, cleaning it up, they're gonna get the apartments upstairs active and then go from there.
Oh, perfect. Thank you.
Progress.
Okay?
Weren't you coaching Pee Wee's 36 years
That
ago?
was the year I worked in Warroad.
Oh. I was just wondering how you slipped through the
I
cracks.
I missed 1 year, Pete.
All right.
Obviously, I should have missed more than one. so. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to the fifth item of the agenda, I will hand this over to our city attorney, Chelsea Nelson, to give an update on the Law Enforcement Center draft lease and responses from the county board.
So in the packet is just their response from February 10th. This was on the city council, moved to committee of the whole to have a better discussion of what you'd like me to respond with. I know certainly they're doing the inspection. Haven't heard if that's done yet. Perhaps you want to wait to even do a response until we see the inspection. But my understanding today was to get a better idea of what you'd like me to counter with, what you're okay with, what you're not okay with.
What was the length of time supposed to be on that? Was there any length of time, Chelsea, to have that inspection done?
They don't have any sort of deadline in there.
Well-
and we don't. I know when we sent our letter, the inspection was before we enter into a lease.
Yes. Yeah, so it might not be until they completely move out of it.
And that, Chief, do you know, do you have an idea of where that's at? Because there's been some delays in there.
They're intending on moving in there March 11th still,
Okay.
so I know they had setbacks with some leakage in the building. So, I think they've addressed that.
In the new building.
Oh, yeah.
Then talk about it.
Okay. Well, I think that the council would probably be in agreement that we need to have an inspection before
Yes.
we commit to
Yeah,
something like that or don't.
I don't want to sit on that. I want to see movement, March 11th, you said they're gonna,
In theory.
we need to get on them and,
I move we hold off until we see the inspection before we do any other
well,
discussion.
yeah, but it shouldn't take that long to go through it and look the place over. I wouldn't think so, no.
Is that a motion? I thought I said a motion, but I
I'll
guess that's
second.
okay.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you, Counselor. So Counselor Buller made a motion to wait
Open this-
until we have
open
an
the discussion
inspection.
after they have the inspection done for the asbestos and the black mold and whatever else we're gonna inspect first, so that we're sure that's gonna be clean, then we can go talk about it some more.
Okay. So to make it simple, the inspection?
Yep.
Okay, and you would second that,
Yep, I'll
Counselor?
second it. Yeah.
Okay. Discussion ensues. I think that, is there discussion on the motions for the question?
No.
Okay, so let's,
Just to clarify, so essentially it's a motion to table
Table.
until the inspection is back.
Correct.
yeah,
Do we have a time period? I mean,
No, there's nothing in here. I mean, I can certainly reach out and see when they anticipate to complete the
Yeah,
inspection.
I'd appreciate that, Chelsea. I just don't want to sit on it forever.
Counselor Wagner?
Do you think they were expecting a response to this?
Yes.
That's the only thing.
But our response can be, we'll let you know once we see the inspection. I mean, if you want me to do a formal letter like that, I can.
Well, I think they should get a response. I don't know that we have to send a formal letter. We can. That was what the motion actually was. I mean, I guess my question for the council is, so we're currently doing business out of Bacchus. Is the intent to go into the old law enforcement center if it has a good enough bill of health? Or are we not in agreement on that? And what are your feelings, chief?
You know, if it comes back, you know, as a good inspection, I would anticipate moving over there. I think a lot of the holdup right now is turning the water system off upstairs, which wouldn't happen until after March 11th. Because I don't know where the renovations, they talked about the renovations in the past, and it doesn't make sense to do any renovations until after the water would be shut off. Because I think the majority of the problem was the leakage from upstairs. And all the water being on in the jail, all the toilets and everything that are up there, so. I don't know how fast they intend on shutting that water off, once they get everybody out of the jail and then move into the new jail. Whether that's gonna happen right on the 11th or there's gonna be delays there.
So I have a question for you, Scott. If that inspection comes back and it's good, you want to move in there, right?
Yes.
Okay. That's all I needed to hear.
So, I mean, we're discussing the motion. Yeah, I mean, I think that the inspection needs to be done. If the building has asbestos, that doesn't necessarily mean that we can't use it. It's just its shape and form and whatnot. So, I mean, I think that, I hope it's a thorough enough report that we can define that.
As long as they're not tampering with any of the asbestos, it should be stable. That's my main concern.
Yeah, yeah.
Counselor Wagner?
So with this motion, will we not be discussing this anymore as far as what? I've got a few questions on this agreement. Or do we
Well,
want to wait till after the inspection?
let's pass the motion, assuming it passes, and we'll continue discussion on this topic.
Okay.
I'd like to call the question.
Aye.
All right.
Aye.
I'll vote yes, so the motion passes for Chelsea to reach out to the county on the building inspection with notations for mold and asbestos as passed. Thank you. And we'll continue discussion on the other topics relating to this lease. You mentioned you had some things, Counselor Wagner. I would give the floor to you.
Thank you. Yeah, 2 and 3 is where my questions are. So one was, and if Chelsea remembers, when the county was here, they said 2 was still negotiable. And 3 was one that we talked about during our talks with the county, if you remember, Mayor Dill, about the building, establishing a building fund to continually keep the building in great shape, right, for you guys. So if 3 is not gonna be part of this, then I would have to ask if we need to look at the rent structure again a little bit anyways, for a rebuttal on that.
I mean, my personal feelings on it, I think short of kicking the can down the road, and I'm not shedding negativity because I think you have some great points, is if we make the assumption that the inspection comes back good, or do we move in or not? I mean, if we want to go back and forth over, set aside, we can with them. I'm not saying that we shouldn't, but it doesn't appear to be in the worst condition. It does need a few things. The KCSO seems to be able to operate out of there fairly seamlessly. You know, it's taken a long time to get to this point. I don't think we should just shelve things that maybe need to be addressed, but I think for the future of the department, we need to decide at this point if we're gonna keep the police at Bacchus, or we're gonna move forward with, moving forward with something with the rent. And, you know, that's all of our decisions, and I think all questions and thoughts should be addressed.
Well, I believe that we should move there. I do. But this is not what we talked about. We did not talk about this. This isn't how it was structured when we came out of our.
Out of our
That's all I was
meetings.
saying. Now, I would offer some things to negotiate on it, and I'm okay with if they're not gonna set aside building improvements. But if they're not gonna do that, then why not 5 years before the 2.5% kicks in?
Yeah, and I
But
think,
this is what I'm saying.
Right.
Okay?
So you want to be able to negotiate a little bit.
Well, there was no per year
Yeah.
increase on the rent.
There wasn't no 2.5?
No, that
Okay.
is not what we talked about.
Okay,
It was on utilities alone. I have my notes, but you were there. And that was after a 1-year utility study to see how much PD uses on the space that they are renting. So that is just my question.
right. Well, I think, like I said, I think you have a good point. I think that my understanding was that whatever batch of initial improvements we needed to make were going to be mutual. Now, in fairness to the folks we were negotiating with, they did say that they had to bring it back to their board, and there's more players involved now. So, I mean, if there's things that we need to hash out, let's do that.
Well, that's the only
Okay.
change that I
Okay.
would recommend to this council, but
Okay.
that's up to each one of you.
And I would agree with Counselor Wagner, and, you know, I don't, and as long as it stays mutually agreed upon improvements, you know, so they don't say, hey, we need to do this, so this is what we're gonna do, I don't have a problem with it.
Well, I believe the initial ones, and Mayor, you can correct me if I'm wrong, was we're gonna pay half of the remodel so they can get in there, right? That's the idea, right?
50/50, I like, yeah.
Yeah, and then after that, I don't believe we're remodeling anything else unless we want it or something.
All right, and that's what I mean, yeah, okay.
okay.
Would, we could make another motion if you'd like, but specifics as to what we want to address with them. You know, I think this is good. We're getting down, it feels like, to the brass tacks.
Yeah.
So
I'm just going by what they said when they were here. This part is negotiable. That's exactly what they told us in the meeting. So
So it actually got added,
that
That
got
two-
added.
2.5,
Yes, that is a change.
okay.
Understandable. I
Yeah.
get it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but that wasn't something we talked about
yeah,
in the thing.
I mean, they brought it back to their board, and
Yep.
that's what, so do you have a suggestion? that If we're gonna have Chelsea add something to her letter, that's what I'm trying to get at.
Yep,
Is, for the group, is what specifics should we address now?
Well, my suggestion, so then you guys counselors can weigh in, Mayor, is to go fixed for the first 5 years of the lease, beginning year 6, annual rent increase of 2.5%. Because if I'm correct, Chelsea, this is a 20-year lease?
Yes. So, and it's, their proposal doesn't say it's guaranteed 2.5 every year, it's based on the CPI capped at 2.5.
Correct.
Okay.
That's the other part.
Yeah.
You are correct, thank you.
That if we get a deflationary period, they could still raise it to 2.5.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it could be higher than that. That's the other reason for the first 5 years of. And that should give PD enough time to know if the building is as sound as we think it is, which we think it is.
So fixed for first 5 years
Yeah.
is, okay?
Well, it's just my recommendation.
Yeah.
It's up to everybody else. What-
Thoughts on that from the council?
I'll go with that.
Would you like to make that a motion?
I'll make a motion for Chelsea to bring that back to the county.
I'll second it.
You'd make the motion to bring that back to the county to change from 2 to 5. Okay.
But thank you.
Thank you.
Yep, you're correct.
2 years to 5 years.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a quick second, Counselor, thank you.
I'll second that.
Discussion on that topic? Seeing none, I'd ask the question.
Aye.
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 I'll vote yes, and that addition can go in the letter as well. Thank you, Chelsea. And Counselor Wagner, is there additional discussion in regard to any other things we'd like to address to them? We'll get to look at the final lease when we get to that point, so that's probably moot for today, other than the points that we have in the letter to discuss.
Me, it looks like, I don't know if they know what they're gonna do with that upstairs, portion where the jail is. And that might be some hesitation and why, if they don't know if anything's gonna move in there, that's kind of the holdup. And then shutting the water system off too. So if they can clarify or give a time frame of when that would happen, that would expedite things, I think.
Okay. And, yeah, there'll certainly be just the conversations that happen between some of us and their board from time to time. We can, let it be known that we want to get this wrapped up. But I would like to thank them. I mean, we've gone back and forth quite a few times, and it's kept moving on, so.
And the rent set aside with that 5-year lock, that part, then we're saying we're fine with not being in there, right?
That is correct.
Okay.
Oh, that's just me. The rest of you guys.
Well,
that's
yeah,
what I
I'm
do.
fine with that.
Okay.
It's not my favorite thing, but I don't know if I need to hold up the process over that. I have a little problem with not setting some of the rent aside, but that's fine.
And I don't know that we need that part on a motion. I'd mainly be looking at motions of what we're changing based on what they said. They also said they will ensure responsibility for wiring pipes and mechanical components. And then their refurbish renovate provision, everyone's comfortable with that one? They just are, it's gonna be light renovations mutually agreed upon by both parties, nothing structural, nothing major.
Yeah. Yep.
That was
Yeah.
concurrent with
Yeah.
Okay.
doors, ceiling tile.
Time to paint, doors,
Paint.
lights.
Okay, and there was talk at one point of a door.
Yes.
Do I need to mention the door?
I don't know. We have to give it up to Chief. I don't remember exactly what door. Do you?
What,
It's so it'd be the southwest door. Sometimes in the summertime, it doesn't latch properly. When the door gets heated up, for some reason, it just doesn't close all the way, so you have to check it. I wouldn't think that would take much fixing, if anything, just to ensure that closes and locks.
Would it be fair to send off the letter based on the motions we've made? we're gonna get a response, and then, let's say it all goes well, and we say, okay, we're gonna take the jump and do this, and then, say, well, here's the list that we wanna do. I mean, we can do that before we sign the lease.
Yeah.
Because at that point, if
Pretty minor.
it's no, then we can say, well, then we can't do this, but, please, counsel.
There was one other one, I don't remember this one, but was to secure the location with fobs for you guys, because there's ways to enter in there,
Yes.
other than just through the door from other areas, to secure that.
There was, internally there, those were some of the doors that I haven't ever gone through,
Yeah,
and that was down,
In the basement?
in the basement there. And then
They would need, right now, they need a key to get in from, unless things have changed in 5 years, which they very well get.
not that I,
And it's already locked, so we could just, right, put a fob on there too, like there is now. Otherwise, they could go through there, get in that door, walk through downstairs and come up.
yeah, one of the concerns was anybody could access,
If they have the,
yeah.
like, no, the maintenance guy that has access to that, but that's what that'd be. That'd just be another fob or lock on the door.
Just keep that in mind for when.
Yeah, you're gonna need that.
But some of those fobs, I think, would be part of the possibly late renovation if we come to an agreement.
Yeah,
But we'll make sure one way or another they get taken care of if we decide to go in there.
thank you. Any more discussion on the topic? Good discussion. We'll keep revisiting as I'm sure we'll have a response by our next meeting. Item 6, from Legislation and Land Use Committee to discuss enforcement details related to the proposed ordinance prohibiting deer feeding, which we have in our packet. Chelsea made a small change in this draft ordinance. There was some questions about, with any ordinance, of who's going to enforce the ordinance. So this draft has in it that any City of International Falls police officer or other law enforcement officer may enforce this provision. That's the only change, I believe.
Yep, all the rest of it was taken out.
So that's another change to the ordinance. This is I don't want to say a hot button topic, but there's obviously, like anything, we have residents that are very concerned about deer feeding and some that aren't so much. And the initial intent of this was to create an ordinance that we have the option to enforce, but one of the options that the ordinance would give us is with the Department of Natural Resources. They came up and presented, and before they get involved, whether they ever do or not, they had asked us to put an ordinance on the books. So at this point, what are the feelings of the council with the ordinance, and if there's going to be any future changes, or I think we need to get this in a place where we can get it off of our plate and move on.
I'll move to send it to council.
Thank you, Counselor Kaler.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Counselor Holden. Discussion ensues.
Well, that way, whether we voted favor on it or not, then we can move along like Chelsea said if the other party doesn't agree with it, they can go through the petition process to see if they can change it. But I think it's, throw it out there and, take care of it one way or another.
Thank you, Counselor, and I would echo that, that we've gone through the scenarios in our other committee, whether it's a split issue, maybe it's not. But if we were to pass it, it can be petitioned and then it can go on the ballot in the fall, similar to what happened with the chickens. And the community can decide in the ballot box whether they want it or not. So that's, I think, some of the methodology that could happen. Any more discussion on this topic? Counselor Buller?
No,
Okay.
I think it's good to get it going, get it on the books, and then we can work whichever avenue we need to do to control the deer.
Okay. Call the question.
Aye?
Aye.
Aye. Right.
I'll vote yes. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you. And that can get moved to the city council agenda. Moving on to new business. To discuss a letter dated February 27th from Citizens for Bacchus AB regarding the current month-to-month lease agreement for the IFPD that is set to expire at the end of this month. Chief Worley.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. I did receive a letter from Lois Lundin, the Executive Director of Bacchus, saying that our lease is set to expire March 31st. We've been operating on a month-to-month lease now for, I don't know how long, Lois, but probably quite some time. I guess I would propose that we continue with that month-to-month until we're able to figure out when and if the old law enforcement center is ready to be moved into. And I do appreciate everything that Bacchus has done for us and how they've accommodated us over the time that we've been there. It's been a good agreement. It lacks a garage for being able to thaw out our squad cars and things like that in times of heavy snow or ice. It's problematic. We like to get our cars in there and get them cleaned up at times too, so. But yes, it's been good, and we'd like to continue that on a month-to-month basis.
Okay.
You need a motion for that?
I was gonna ask that question. We're month to month, but do we currently have a contract in place for that? Or we did from prior meetings, maybe
Okay.
6 months ago? So, thank you, Chief,
Thank you.
for your comments. And to Bacchus, is there a motion to continue on with a month-to-month lease at Bacchus AB for the police department?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Counselor Holden.
I'll second.
Thank you, Counselor Kaler. Discussion.
Just to clarify, are you looking to have the city sign a new lease?
I'll look at our records, Chelsea, to
Okay.
see if it's dated through March 31. If it is, I'll just send another over.
Okay, so that potentially would need to go to council then on, they can't move for it here.
Right, and that's, yeah.
I think my understanding.
Motion
of the
is to
was
move it
get
to the next council
Okay.
meeting.
council.
Yeah.
That, so whatever the situation is there, can be added to the packet after review. Does that,
If a new lease is required, I can get that over to you.
That's great. Thank you. Okay.
For the record, Bacchus is very happy to have the police department there, and you're welcome to stay as long as you like.
Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you. I didn't ask the question, so at this time I'll ask it.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
I'll vote yes, and that motion is approved unanimously. Thank you. Moving on to item 2 of new business. This came from Public Works Committee earlier today at 2:30 PM. The VFW Post 2948 has requested to place a memorial at Holler softball fields. So Counselor Kaler and I sit on the Public Works Committee and agreed to add it to this agenda. I would like to read the letter that from Commander Schmidbauer, Dennis Manreen had presented this to us at committee. Dear Council, as Commander and Representative of the Comrades of the United States Veterans of Foreign Wars, Peter Graham, Post 2948, I'd like to give our full support to the request and petition before you to rename the Holler softball fields to the Senior Chief Petty Officer Thomas J. Valentine softball and athletic fields. We feel this action is most appropriate given that Senior Chief Valentine was an International Falls resident who served this country with honor and distinction both in combat and peacetime, and made the ultimate sacrifice in service of this country in the line of duty. Furthermore, our post will commit to support and/or fund the design, manufacture, and installation of an appropriate memorial and signage at the location to identify and honor this local hero. Thank you for your consideration of this request, Commander Schmidbauer, our local VFW. Counselor Kaler, do you have any additional to add to this discussion?
No, just that, I think it's a good idea, and they agreed to work with us and do the design and the materials, and we'll work on finding the proper place for it there, where it's, visible and people will be able to notice.
Any questions or concerns from other members of council on this topic? Please, Counselor Wagner.
Well, I didn't realize it, but they want to rename the field? Or just put in,
I'll rename the field.
dedication? You know what I mean? That's what it says here.
Rename the field.
That's the way I read it, unless I'm reading it
Yeah.
wrong.
Yeah, rename the field. Now, they can have that sign there, and right now, it really doesn't have a name. There's no name, it's just known as the Holler Fields. I mean, we're not gonna be losing anything.
That's how I read the letter too.
Okay, thank you.
Now, when we had our committee, I think Counselor Kaler and I's understanding was that they wanted to do the sign to memorialize the ball fields after this gentleman who's passed. I think at a council meeting, we could iron out those details, unless there's some other concerns about it. The ball fields are named Holler like many things in International Falls, and can say that I don't know that if that was a dedicated ball. You were a coach for a long time, so Counselor
Yeah,
Holden, tell us about this.
I can tell you how we got that field. The school district owned it. And one day Jeff Veeder said, I was president of Little League, said, we'd like to sit down with you and Joe Boyle and transfer it to the city of International Falls. So I sat in with Joe Boyle, and as Little League president, we got the fields and we just kept it at the name Holler Fields. Everybody knew where that was. But it became ours. not the school districts anymore, so. They just transferred it over, and I remember a few signatures and, yeah.
Well, I can go farther than that. I helped make it.
Did you?
Yes.
There you go.
Yeah. One with Slow Falls Fields did that, yes. But I think with Hollerfield, they're gonna come, and I think they're very receptive to whatever we wanna name the field. If we wanted to say the Tony Valentine Holler Memorial Field, I'm sure they'd be fine with something like that.
Thoughts?
No, I was just asking the question,
Yeah.
because I wasn't clear if it was just
Yeah.
a memorial or renaming of the.
No, then name the field.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up, yeah.
And the VFW was going to talk about obviously getting draft signage.
Yeah.
So that they could show us what it would entail if we did wanna, move forward with that. At this point in time, Counselor, is this something you'd like to move to council or to
Yeah.
the next committee?
No, I think we can move it to council. And that can be a motion if you like.
Thank you, Counselor Kaler.
Second?
Thank you, Counselor Wagner. Discussion on the topic. Call the question.
Aye?
Aye.
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 I'll vote yes, and that can be moved to the next meeting as it passed unanimously. Thank you. Is there any other business?
Of course, I thought of that after we did all this, but I'd like to thank Mike Walsh and the city crew, the Public Works, that they got up last fall, the scoreboards that Rainier Rec donated to Falls Baseball International Falls to the fields there. So those are up now.
Thank you, Mike. We can move on to correspondence. There is a Zamboni advertising photo from Cary Park in our packets for your information. I assume that that's why that's in there, or is there,
49ers new sticker on there.
I see that.
I like that.
And the 49 on the scoreboard.
Yeah, I like that too.
That, and you've got the coat, you can go
I've got
drive
the
it right
coat,
there.
yes, I got the 49ers coat, thank you.
Counselor Wagner.
Just a question on that. So this, did PCA and the 49ers pay to have their logo put on the Zamboni? And who owns that Zamboni?
We do.
Where does the advertising money go?
Good question, I don't know.
Does that come to the city for
I don't
repairs
know.
of the arena?
I could not tell you that.
I think it's something we need to look at.
Betty, are these,
I
could,
believe the funds go to rec hockey, as rec hockey does the solicitation for it, but I will have to verify that information. I don't want to speak out of turn, but I believe that is how it works. You can ask that question.
So would that go maybe to a dedicated fund for repairs of the arena, you think? Okay.
You can ask that question.
And part of the, it's, because there's other advertising, like
Yeah.
on the board. But part of, I can speak, because I was on the council then too, that it was a combination effort of rec hockey, the city that purchased and the recreation department purchased that Zamboni. So hopefully if the funds are going towards upkeep of the Zamboni, it's kind of the same thing, yeah.
Yeah.
What does the 1927 mean? I'm assuming it has some sort of symbol since they did 4949.
When they were established.
Or they didn't change the time on the clock.
this
I'm
showed
gonna have
up
to
in the
Google it.
packet,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I'm looking at, I mean, it's,
I'll Google it later. I was just seeing if anyone knew.
Yeah.
if Counselor Wagner and the council could, get that information that you've requested, that would be great. Thank you. We'll move on to boards and commission reports. First, Airport Commission, Counselor Buller and Holden.
Everything's going solid. We're moving along. We got a few things we're looking in the process of, people that wanna have more hangars put in there, which would bring money into the airport commission. So it's surprising how many really they're interested in, from what we were told. I don't remember the exact number, but there's more people that want hangars, which, that's a good thing. We're also working on a big transit hangar for the future. Probably be digging in 2027, Walt?
Yeah, they were gonna start on the design as of our last meeting.
Right.
And the design of the new transit hangar.
Yeah, and that's huge.
And they had to, one of the little bit of the holdups was we had to apply to the state for insulation and heat in that building, and that's what they're waiting on right now.
Yeah,
We know we can get the funding through this special fund right now for 95% of it, but the heat and the insulation is kind of a state part of it versus the FAA, so.
it's really gonna be quite the addition to the airport. The airport's already getting better and better and better all the time. This is gonna add, because it's gonna bring money in when it's leased out to the airport commission, so, it's huge. So, we're lucky, we got one of the best airports around, we do.
Thank you, Counselor Holden and Buller. Next, I am going to move Takita. I was not in attendance at the last meeting.
That's why I didn't pay attention, no one was there to keep an eye on me. I got a few things.
Please, Counselor.
First, we agreed kind of in line with the county employees and our salaried employees. I'm not on the personnel committee out there, but agreed to 3% raises year for the staff there, which is to Kyra and Paul. And seeing as we're talking Kerry Park and refrigeration, all those issues, we did have to make some major repairs to the cold box and the cooling out there, about $35,000. And out there, which is quite a hit to the budget out there, but have the funds and whatnot. And but so that slowed things down a little, and the people come from Grand Forks had come twice, I believe, but it's up and running like Kerry Park. That cold making machines also, like everything else around here, 30, 40 years old, you know, getting tired. So I never knew I'd be involved in so many things that involve making ice, but there's two right there. And talked about, you know, the warehouse is still going forward. The Felix one's most, still working in the finance stages, and some other partners are interested in maybe developing something there and some businesses to use the warehouse in the free trade zone when it gets a chance. I'm trying to think of it. That was about the major of it.
Thank you for covering that report. I was at the personnel meeting.
Yes. And if I spoke out of turn with that, just.
You did not. We'll move back to Counselors Buller and Holden.
I got a question for
Oh,
you guys.
I'm sorry, please go ahead.
The website on the Kita hasn't been updated since 2019. Is there, will you be looking at updating that, do you think, or?
We will bring that
get up.
directly to the director.
I mean, I think that would be important for anybody that's looking to place a business here if they had updated information. They usually go on the web. And are there any other economic opportunities that you're seeing yet, or other than the warehouse? Through Kita?
Yeah, there's a gentleman, new veterinary hospital at the industrial park. Plans are getting drawn up now and financing. And it's gonna be veterinary, but a larger veterinary clinic that can also handle farm animals, because apparently there's a shortage of that around here. And he was also, at one time, they were part of Rainier River Vets. They were, and now I believe he is, the Mr. Half is a roving, I want to say roving, but mobile vet in the area, and his wife's down on the range or the city, still working somewhere. That's our plan. And we're moving forward with that, and that's going to be in the industrial park. And thanks for bringing that up, so
Yeah. Yeah, that's essentially from 2 months ago, was moving ahead. So that is in the works. There's other development projects that are being pitched. I don't think it's out of the realm. I don't think we've had a KEDA level discussion on it, but, you know, we see it on social media and on the Duluth News and the Twin Cities News. People want to build data centers.
We're open for business.
If we can do it and build tax space, we can fix a lot of problems, but we're not there yet. Does that answer some of your questions?
Yes.
We'd be happy to follow up with the director
Yeah.
on the website, Ted, and the secretary. We'll move on to number 3, North Cooch, Counselors Buller and Holden.
Well, we had our closing for applications for our director on the 15th of February, and we met as a personnel committee today with 4 good candidates that we interviewed. And we're going to present the one that the committee picked to the full board on Tuesday next week when the full board for the district meet and move forward from there. So
This is good.
had some good candidates, and it was good to see that, yeah.
Good.
Very good candidates.
Thank you, Counselor Buller. We'll move on to subcommittee reports, if there's no questions on North Cooch. Seeing none. First, ambulance taxing district, there was a public hearing that the county held on the 24th of February in regard to that district. I know many of you spoke.
Yeah, I think we had 3 counselors that spoke. Tim did, I did, and Pete did. We pretty much, you know, were happy about the county sitting down with us, and we didn't discuss, I didn't want to discuss figures, because we're still in the process of doing that, so staying out of maybe a hornet's nest or whatever, but we let them know, all 3 counselors let them know that we're happy. I believe Emma mentioned it too, and Betty, we're happy that they're willing to sit down and move ahead with this, that they're on board. It's just a little figuring out the figures, and that doesn't happen overnight, so, but it's looking good. I think it's, it's not finished, of course, but it's looking good.
And I think it's Counselor?
I'd just say one that talks to, you know, people keep talking about BLS, ALS, and it was mentioned there that it all sounds good on paper, but you gotta find EMTs to be part of BLS, and perfect example of that was last week when we had another one resign here. I mean, those are, volunteer basically positions and stuff, and you gotta find people that are willing to do that, so thank you. But just an example of where we're at here, but I thought it went well. I mean, the information, what was out there.
Good, I mean, and I've gotten a few calls about the way that the proposed tax would fall on what ultimately would be an opportunity on pay-for-use service. And the valuation method versus a flat per parcel fee. Just the first thing, we all probably have our own opinions about how the county would potentially tax for that service. But, you know, I just want to point out that we've been asking them for this for a long time, and I think that for me personally, that the first issue is to get the money flowing to keep the
Yeah.
service. And you touched on staffing and whatnot. Staffing is difficult in many different areas.
Yeah.
In private business and public sector right now, so. Any other thoughts?
I was just glad that they presented both, the
Yeah.
flat tax and the
Yeah,
by
yeah.
property value.
How it would,
Yeah.
Chelsea, not putting you on the spot, but what I understood of it, they can change that over time and it can be hybridized, how they would,
For taxing?
yeah,
Yeah, you're not set in stone for one particular way. Once it's created, it can change.
it can change. So who knows where this ends up, but hopefully it keeps moving along. Thank you. Kerry Park.
We're in the process, or Betty's in the process of trying to get a date together so we can get together and discuss it. The future, what we're gonna do, and things like that. And we're waiting to hear back there, waiting to get their people together and our people together, and
Betty reached
Something.
out to rec hockey.
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about. We're just waiting to hear back.
Guessing pretty soon after the
yes.
I would think so.
weather warms up a little more.
Yeah, after this weekend and, with the hockey tournament and the peewees being gone, then ice will be leaving.
Thank you. Other business? Meeting adjourned.